Thanks for staying tuned. You're still watching iBrand Daybreak. Now, for many, financial concerns are ever present, especially given the uncertainties of today's economy. While worrying doesn't solve much, having a plan to manage financial challenges can help ease some of the stress. Now we have Adeniyi Atiba, director of the Dr. Triple A company, who joins us via video call from Ibadan to give us some tips for tackling money stress and taking control of our finances. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's highlight some financial stress, some things that can cause financial stress, especially for people who may be going through some of those things.
All right, awesome. So one of the major things that, that affect you, that can affect people and cause financial stress is basically when they don't have enough money. But that often comes from mismanagement of funds, first off, anyway. But let's start from there, that from personal experience, I can tell you, and even from having worked with a lot of people, because I'm also a life coach, I've worked with several people over the years, and I can tell you firsthand that many people get frustrated when they cannot generate enough money. But then I also began to notice that the major problem was because they couldn't manage their funds properly. So many people work. Nigerians are not lazy, contrary to popular opinion. I've seen people do like 4 jobs, do a lot of things. But when it comes to managing that money, that's where the problem is.
So you're saying it's a case, sorry to butt in, are you saying it's a case of management, but are you saying there are no cases of those funds not even being sufficient?
In a lot of instances also, the fund may not be sufficient. I said that both of them, those are the two major, problems that people get to have. That causes their frustration,
Well, in dealing with financial stress, it's not just about not having sufficient, funds or management as well. There's also the place of, certain, circumstances warranting the individual to probably be in debt as well, and probably secure, life-threatening health conditions or what have you. In that regard, how do you come out of, such a financial stress? Because when you're neck deep in debt, that's also a financial stress.
You notice that, I'll be sincere with you. I have discovered, like I told you, it's all about those two. Those are the two major pillars to financial stress: mismanagement of funds and then not having enough. Now, when you say that somebody is in debt, how did that happen? Because the person was not living below their means, right? That's the management of funds. So when I take money, say, for example, say somebody's earning like 200,000 naira, I'm just saying, or even let's even come to 1 million, because I discovered that debt has nothing to do with the amount of your income. So say you're earning 1 million naira, but you are spending and you're living large. You're spending like 1.5 million. The remaining, the deficit, the 500,000 is coming from somewhere else. And that's probably from your friends or from your family, or you dipped your hand into something, right? So eventually, what eventually happens is you have to keep on striving and trying to meet up, because your money, the income is not enough. So the truth is, when it comes to debt, it has nothing to do with, how much you make. It has to do with how wise you spend your money, how wisely you can spend your money.
So maybe you should...
That is the major reason.
Maybe you should expatiate further on some bad money habits to avoid.
Beautiful. So let's start with the fact that a lot of us are very bad when it comes to spending, okay? A lot of us are spendthrifts, right? People just want to spend money. And I've seen it happen a lot. In my earlier years, the same thing. My people would say, that the first money that a young man or young lady makes, they spend them on spending on buying, being cake. That's a proverb, right? But what that simply means is that from the very beginning, a lot of us are not taught how to handle money anywhere, right? So we grow up becoming spendthrift, and so we just say to ourselves, you know what, I just want to buy this thing, and we don't care. So that is a very, very bad way. I grew up with that notion that, you know what, let me just go, let me buy whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. Eventually, I started learning financial intelligence, which is very key. There are three things that we need in this generation to survive. The first one is emotional intelligence. The second is digital intelligence. But the most important, which balances those three, is financial intelligence. So we need to start to learn how to properly manage our money. A lot of us don't know how to do a budget. So that means that when you collect the money, you don't even know how much comes in, you don't know how much goes out. So that is a bad money habit, not being able to set up a budget. You don't even know. So somebody says, oh, how much do you earn? Oh, I'm earning ₦1 million. Oh, yeah, but how much do you spend? They don't know. So you must be able to sit down and itemize where your money goes every month. If you can do that, you will discover that your life starts to take a turn. Some people don't know how to invest. It's a bad thing. The only way to increase your money is to invest it. There are several ways you can invest your money. You can start a business. It's investment. Yeah, you can invest into real estate. You could invest into yourself. Learn financial intelligence. That's beautiful. You can acquire assets. Assets are anything that would actually, help you to increase your money. So a car can be an asset if you use it for Uber or for both, right? Your house can be an asset if you can use it for rent, if you can get people to use it for Airbnb. I mean, these are things, that we need to start to learn. So a lot of people don't even have financial intelligence. That is the basis of every of the bad money habits that we have. Basically, that's it. Yeah, so that's basically it. So people would just want to spend money anyhow. They don't know how much they make. I mean, they know how much they make, but they don't know how much they spend. So these things are key things that we need to. Once you can manage and bring these things down, you'll discover that your financial stress is better. And then people want to borrow. People borrow to acquire liabilities. What's a liability? The opposite of an asset, right?
Yes.
A liability is anything that takes away money out of your pocket. All right. So people borrow. Can you imagine borrowing for parties? You borrow for parties. You borrow for things that don't matter. Some people borrow to buy clothes.
So you talked about investment. You talked about investment. You also talked about looking at other ways to make your money actually grow. But some of these things would require some form of financial literacy. And
exactly.
Are the trainings, are they really out there? Are they available? Do you have to pay to get them?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But the truth of the matter is, I'll be sincere with you. I've written like 3 books now on financial intelligence. I've written something on Invest Wisely. I've written something on hot sector to invest in 2022. I've written another book called How to Retire Rich and Early in Record Time. The truth is, if we look around ourselves, right, you're going to see all these resources around. But let me give you the cheapest one available. Everybody now in Nigeria, or at least almost everybody in Nigeria, about 70% of Nigerians have access to smartphones and data. YouTube is a great resource. Let me tell you something. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart lies. Actually. Right? So what that means is, if I am interested in coming out of poverty, which happened to me because years ago, I would tell you this for free, that I sold rat poison on the streets of Ibadan. Yeah, because it was tough, right? It was tough. But you see, when you make up your mind that you're going to grow yourself, I mean, this is me now. I've been around, being here and there now, grown a business. I mean, done a lot of things. Why? Because I set my mind to it. You got to set your mind to it. Like, look, I'm going to grow myself. So for free, you have resources on YouTube. You've got Google. Google, next to God, there's Google, right? Ask God, ask Google, right? That's what we say. So get on Google. There's some articles you can actually read on YouTube. There's videos that will teach the essence and the basics and the pillars of financial intelligence. We need to learn what interest is. We need to understand what credit rate is. We need to understand how it is. I've seen a lot of people that have advised over the years who would basically go and pick up some of these things. I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, don't let me mention it because I want to be careful, right? But there are some things that people take. There are some loans that people take from some of these microfinance banks and stuff that if you calculate the interest, you discover that just being a member of a credit and trade society, called a cooperative, will save your life and give you peace of mind. Correct. Some of these microfinance banks, some of their interest rates will kill you and you will take away your sleep. And then, like some of people, all these things that they call, permit me to say this, dominance, and what it simply means is that it's a terrible sense of discomfort. Yes. People go and take this money and then they're running away. They can't sleep in their homes again because these guys will come knocking, right? There are better ways of raising funds for your business, the better ways for raising funds for your life. But more than anything, we never raise funds for life. It does not make sense.
Okay.
Let's learn to live our means and we can do better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You talked about in the bid to overcome financial stress, the need to invest. How about folks who suffered from bad investments in a bid to overcome that financial stress? We've heard of several reports of our fellow Nigerians investing, even the real estate you mentioned, and it didn't come out well, or invest in certain investment firms, and they either got duped or they suffered losses. That's in itself is a financial stress for those who experienced that. So what tips or advice would you give those who have experienced such in terms of bad investments, trying to get out of it? What are tips you give such people?
Mr. Tiba.
Are you there?
Okay, looks like Mr. Tiba is no longer with us. But of course, financial stress is something. I was thinking about financial pressure from family members. Okay, it's with us now.
Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can.
Thank you for coming back.
Yes. Should I take the question again?
So, no, I heard you.
Okay. Shoot, you have the floor.
Mr. Tiba.
I think there's something wrong with the connection.
While they're trying to fix that, let's just look at family pressure. You have siblings, especially for firstborns. You have siblings, you want to take care of them, you want to relieve your parents of the burden, and then sometimes they have this sense of entitlement and you're wondering.
Sometimes you don't even want to, but you need to.
You have to.
In that sense, you have to, because in this part of the world, sometimes probably due to financial capacity, once the first child is working and the younger one
is the breadwinner. Okay, Mr. Atiba is back with us. Mr. Atiba.
Yeah,
you have the floor.
Yes, So I said some years ago, I realized that I also made some investments like that was terrible, really. But you see, bad experiences should not stop us from actually investing, right? So what happens? Why do we make those mistakes? Number one, because we are wrongly informed. We're wrongly informed, right? So some of us, we see the return on investment. That is what comes on our investment, and it's high. And so greed forces us to take on this deal, even though there are signs that some of these investments are shady, right? So it's important that we make sure that you investigate and do a due diligence on every of those investments that we have. I know it's hard, especially when you put in all your hard-earned money and then you lose it just like that, right? But that does not mean we should stop investing, because that's the only way. So this is it. Now, if you're trying to get back, you had your mental health issues because you lost a lot of money, and I can understand that. First off, invest in yourself. Invest in your financial intelligence. Start to read, study, go after people who are doing well in real estate. Go after people who are doing well in those areas that you want to invest in, right? There are small areas at low risk, because they are high risk investment assets, and they are low risk, right? Go for low risk, like government bonds, like mutual funds, right? Go for those things. They are low risk. Your money will come back to you, right? The interest is low, yes, but your money is safe. So let's go for that. why we keep on increasing our financial intelligence. And let me tell you something. I always say that when the fruit is ripe, it will know, right? It will know. So when you are ready, you will also know, right? That you can come back, and then start back into the investment place. And then see, make sure you go after the masters of the game. Go for authentic people who are in those industries. You want to do real estate, go to the real, genuine people. Do your due diligence.
Oh, well,
you
that
want to go
noted.
Into crypto,
that noted, Mr. Atiba. But another issue, we were talking about this just when you went off, about our family pressure. How a lot of people are under pressure because they want to take care of their family members. And sometimes, it may not be the only thing to do, but you just know that you want to do it just to make sure that everything is okay. And then sometimes you get the sense of entitlement from the family members and you're wondering, how do I handle this? I want you to speak to that, especially for people who may be experiencing that.
Sorry, I didn't really get that again.
Financial pressure from family members and the sense of entitlement.
Yes. Now, let me say this. I said this to a young man, and I've said it to several people recently, that this is the truth. And, with no sentiment, right? It's either you grow up, you grow old, and you discover that you have been thrown aside and cast away because you no longer have money, or you make up your mind that you're going to put your priorities right. Now, there's something I learned from the man Sam Adeyemi years ago, the amazing man Sam Adeyemi years ago. And it was this. And it so gave me peace of mind. And I want to pass that piece of wisdom to somebody. That, look, you have got to understand that you should only set aside a portion of your income for gifts. These are what we call gifts. Whether it's, I'm talking about extended family. I'm not talking about your immediate family, right?
Okay.
It's called gifts. A certain percentage, that it should not be more than 30% of your income. That is what you're going to give to them, right? Once you are done giving that to them, hello, please be at peace. You've done your best. Okay? If you do much more than that, your immediate family will suffer. Your investment, your saving for your future will suffer. Because let me tell you something, saving is very important. Why do we save? For two things: emergencies, and then for your investment. Emergencies and for your investment. Emergencies because anything can come up, right? Opportunities can also come up, right? And you need to harness them. Secondly, you might have a medical emergency, or you have something that you need to deal with, your car emergency, all the things. Then, of course, your investment, because if you don't save for your future, you don't invest, what you're doing is that you are killing your future. When it comes to the future, you're going to be in serious trouble. So you've got to also take care of your own present expenses, and then take care of your future expenses that will come. Retirement is a sure deal. You know how many people I've talked to that are asking, do you have a retirement plan? They just keep on, smiling. I'm like, you don't have a retirement plan. Let's be sincere. Because you are coming. A time is coming, you will not be able to walk again. So no sentiment. You will be alive for a long time. Yeah, you'll be alive for a long time.
But we have to just leave it there. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeni Atiba.
Thank you.
Quite instructive comments there. Thank you so much for your time on iBrand Daybreak.